I'm feeling like a capital A adult. I'm 18 years old and sitting in my car about to take a huge step. A rite of passage that, as a young girl, I'd been anticipating. After today, I'll really be a woman. I've shaved my legs, put on makeup and my cutest underwear, and tried to dress as grown up as possible. I take a last look at myself in the rearview mirror, and I reach into my purse to make sure that I have the copay check my dad wrote for me earlier. I'm about to get my first pap smear. I'm playing it cool and pretending like this is all normal, but deep down I knew something was wrong. My friends were all using tampons and I just couldn't. I tried every angle, every position. It was like hitting a brick wall. And we were not a sex-positive household, so this wasn't something I could talk about. When I was in 3rd grade, my mom had taken a Judy Blume book away from me halfway through when I asked her what a period was. And the only sex talk I ever got was when I was 13 years old, and she asked me if I knew what it meant that Mary was a virgin when Jesus was born. So, did I tell this new doctor that I was worried? No. Did she ask? Also no. There was no talking, and I was already in the stirrups when I met her for the first time. I don't know if you've ever had someone scolding you to relax while they try to jam hard, cold steel into your vagina, but to give you a metaphor so you can kind of conjure that feeling, it is exactly like someone scolding you to relax while they try to jam hard, cold steel into your vagina. There's just no other way to describe it. Eventually, this doctor ripped off her gloves, stood up, and said, "Have you even had sex yet?" "No," I said through choked tears, "I haven't." And she sighed and said, "Well, you don't need a pap smear until you do. Come back when you're more loosened up. Try having a glass of wine." If you're keeping track, remember that I was 3 years away from the legal drinking age. My gynecologist opposite of slut-shamed me. She diagnosed me as a virgin, and for that, the treatment is apparently Merlot and a penis. But if a medical professional couldn't get my vagina to open, I thought she was putting an inordinate amount of faith in a teenage boy to tear down that brick wall. I had sex eventually, but the pain was unbearable, and the poor guy didn't know what to do. I spent my 20s hearing about my friends' casual sexual exploits, while any sex I had involved a lengthy, embarrassing conversation or a workaround. Let me tell you what 25-year-old straight dudes love. They love a serious conversation containing medical jargon and emotions, where sometimes the naked girl in their bed cries a little. The silver lining is that I explored the huge spectrum of activities that sex could be. I could have gone pro when it came to phone sex. I got really good at oral sex, and then I resented every man I performed it on. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized what a waste of time and energy that resentment was, because there were so many other things I could have been resenting men for. I wish I could tell you about all the shitty doctors I saw over the years, but for now, I'll summarize. From the age of 18 on, I experienced nearly 2 decades worth of shame and medical gaslighting before I finally got a diagnosis at the age of 36. I had, and still have, a constellation of symptoms and disorders, including vaginismus, vestibulodynia, vulvodynia, and dyspareunia. Now, everyone knows what all of these are, so I won't bother defining them for you. I'm just kidding. There's no medical research or education or awareness of gynecological disorders, so the bottom line is sex is painful. My pelvic floor would spasm anytime something went near it, and if something did manage to penetrate me, I was met with a stabbing, burning pain. And they say you can't have it all. But wait, there's more. At this point, I'd still never been able to tolerate a pelvic exam or pap smear awake, so my new very good doctor put me under anesthesia so that she could lift the hood and poke around, you know? When I woke up, she was standing by my bed and she said, "You have a lot of hymen." I was still pretty groggy from the anesthesia, but I think I managed to say, "Thank you so much." None of the shitty doctors I saw had looked close enough or understood what they were seeing, and they all dismissed me without mentioning that I had a congenital birth defect, that my hymen was still intact at the age of 36 and nearly covered the entrance to my vagina except for a teeny tiny opening. And it's worth noting that none of the dudes who came face to face with it thought anything of it either. Normally your hymen goes away after penetrative sex, or just like horseback riding or whatever. Or just because time passes and it wears away, but mine was stubborn, and a couple of months after that particular diagnosis, it had to be surgically removed. Meaning that I didn't let just any random dude pop my cherry. I held out for a doctor. So the physical barrier was gone, but the brick wall feeling was still there. I'd spent a lifetime anticipating pain, so my vagina still tried to protect itself by spasming anytime something went near it. Eventually, I started pelvic floor physical therapy, which is a lot of lying on a table casually chit-chatting about Thanksgiving plans while a stranger has her finger inside of you. But PT also involves something called dilators. They're essentially prescription-strength dildos. They're used for a variety of medical purposes, including painful sex. And because of the dilators, PT also involves a lot of lube. Before I used the dilators for the first time, my physical therapist said, "Let me show you a trick." And she squirted a healthy amount of lube onto a folded up paper towel, then rolled the paper towel around the dilator until it was fully coated. And as she was doing this, she looked up, smiled, and said, "This is how my family butters corn." I'll laugh, but you're gonna go home and try it, either with lube or with corn. Either way it works. If I've learned anything from all this, it's that if you want something badly enough, you have to enter into the journey not knowing if you'll ever actually achieve it. I'm still in physical therapy, so I'm not a success story yet. I still struggle with my mental health tied to all of this, still struggle with relationships and intimacy. But this summer I went to the gynecologist. It had been 6 years since my pap smear under general anesthesia, and you're supposed to get them every 5 years, so I was overdue. My new good doctor, she was impressed with my PT progress, and she said, "We can try. If it doesn't work, no big deal." She talked me through positioning myself in the stirrups, letting my legs fall open as wide as they could. She told me when to take deep breaths, the deep breaths I practiced in PT, the kind you can feel all the way down in your vagina. She used the smallest speculum possible. She talked me through every step. And on July 8th, 2025, just 3 months ago, I had my first conscious pap smear. Thank you. It only took 24 years. Now it occurred to me writing this that this ending might sound familiar to some people, and that's because this is exactly the way the Barbie movie ended. But that just feels kind of right to me, you know? And so maybe I'm not a success story yet, but I have to trust that I'm where I need to be right now, and it is finally starting to feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And by tunnel, I mean my vagina. Thank you.